Alright, folks, welcome back for our third and final segment of the day of The Rock is On. I'm your host, The Rock. And we're going to talk a little baseball, though, but we're not going to talk about baseball previews or preview who's going to make the playoffs and World Series predictions. We're going to do that next, like I said, we're going to do that next Monday when it's opening day, because opening day is exactly 1 week from today. But I want to talk about the World Baseball Classic. Now, as you all know, the USA won and beat Puerto Rico in the final 8-0. But when you watch, I just want to know. I understand players want to play for their country or their respective countries, and earn a gold medal or earn a trophy. I get it. You show pride. You want to represent your country. You want to represent yourself. And you want to play against, guys who you pretty much play baseball with growing up as a kid. I get that. But honestly, is the World Baseball Classic that huge of a deal? Honestly, is it that spectacular of an event? I mean, granted, I can understand, in basketball, you have the Summer Olympics where guys play for their respective countries, or in soccer with the World Cup. I get it, but you gotta understand, the way the World Baseball Classic is formatted, they play pretty much a few weeks before the opening day, and these guys, go from spring training where they're going through the motions, just trying to get, I wouldn't say in baseball shape, but just get in the mood of baseball and not worry about it, or just be all loosey goosey, get into the rhythm, and not worry about getting hurt to hey, fast paced game, we gotta. Going 100%, because honestly, players don't go 100% in spring training. They don't. And now you're going to force them to go from, zero, I wouldn't say zero, but say 20, 30, maybe 50% to a full 100%. And not to mention, they have to play a 6-month season after, a 3 weeks or competing 3 weeks in the World Baseball Classic. I honestly, I don't approve of the World Baseball Classic one bit. And also, if you're an owner of a team, though, you got to worry about your players getting hurt right before the season starts. I mean, look what happened with Didi Gregorius. The guy, he played for the Netherlands, he got hurt, and now he's out for pretty much the first month of the season, and the Yankees don't have their starting shortstop. And it kind of puts them behind the 8 ball. Because in the World Baseball Classic, you got to worry about your players getting hurt, your star key players getting hurt right before the season starts. And then not to mention that some of these players, play for these teams that have World Series aspirations. And I'm not saying the Yankees have World Series aspirations, they're in the middle of the pack, but let's say Andrew Miller got hurt. That puts a dent in the Indians' chances of winning a World Series. Or if, let's say, I'm trying to think. Or let's say Eric Hosmer, or Eric Hosmer gets hurt, or Nolan Arenado. These star athletes in the game, they hurt, and these leaders of these teams, of their respective teams, get hurt. It's a blow. It's an absolute blow. Or if, let's say, or even Yadier Molina gets hurt. You can't. It's going to be extremely difficult to replace those players or to fill in for those players from injury when they come back, or before they come back. So that's why you think, if Major League Baseball is going to have the World Baseball Classic or keep it, should you have it after the season, after the World Series, and play it, let's say, maybe in Florida, Puerto Rico, Arizona, DR? But to kind of force your way to baseball speed, a few weeks before the season, and then risk getting hurt. It's kind of alarming in a way. And it's devastating like I said, it's devastating for a team to have one of your star players play in the World Baseball Classic, then get hurt and miss significant time. It puts a dent in teams' World Series aspirations, and you know what? It removes the air out of the balloon, if you think about it, or if you want to put it that way. Also, and it's like, for those who are not, well, I'm a baseball fan. I'm a huge baseball fan, but it's like sometimes I would say for the average baseball fan that likes baseball, come the season, they're not even going to, when the season starts, they're not even going to like be fully up to date with it or like follow it, at least maybe for the first month. They give it like some time, and then they get into the groove of things, because April, you're going to have the NHL, the NBA playoffs starting, you have the NFL draft, but it's like March, people aren't really going to get into baseball either. So if people aren't going to be into baseball or be in a baseball mood when the calendar flips to April, what makes you think they're going to watch the World Baseball Classic in March when you have NBA, NHL regular season coming to a close, March Madness with the NCAA tournament? No, it's not. And granted, like I said, players want to play for their countries. They want to represent themselves and their country. They want to win a gold medal, or win the trophy for the World Baseball Classic. But it's just, is it really worth it? Should Major League Baseball put an end to the World Baseball Classic? Because you don't want to get guys overused, right before the season starts, and then some point late in the year, they feel fatigued, they feel tired, and they don't have the same energy at that same of the year as they use, or at one point of the year like they have in years past. Like, let's say, for example, a player come late July, early August, around that time, that's when he feels great. He doesn't feel tired, doesn't feel any fatigue, and he's in a groove, but now he plays in the World Baseball Classic, and then come that time, late July, early August, he starts feeling fatigue. He gets overworked, gets overused. And that's another problem that the World Baseball Classic could cause. But hopefully, and I remember that happened to the Mets back in 2009, because they had some World Series aspirations back then, but most of their players played in the World Baseball Classic, and then throughout that season they got hurt. They were on the disabled list for a majority of the season, and some people said, you know what, if they didn't play in the World Baseball Classic and they just got their minds right, or not once they got their minds right, but like if they just went through the motions, you wouldn't have, and they didn't like overdid it to themselves, they could have been competing for a World Series that year. Because honestly, a lot of players, if you look at it, a lot of players do get hurt after playing in the World Baseball Classic. It's like they turn on the jets, and then like maybe a week before the season, they cool it off, and then they have to turn on the jets again. But seriously, if Major League Baseball does want to keep the World Baseball Classic, they got to think of an alternative. They shouldn't have it. I think personally, if they're going to keep it, they shouldn't have it after this or before the season, or right before the season. They should have it, after the World Series. But we'll see. We'll see how the players respond. We'll see how they are physically. After the World Baseball Classic, or the players who played in the World Baseball Classic feel physically. And we just hope for the best, and nobody gets hurt, and that's it. And that concludes our show for today. We'll see you next week, folks. Have a great day, everyone.